YouTube, Subxone withdrawal day 11. Okay, today I guess I kind of want to make a video about what the last 11 days have been like for me. Let me start with day 1. First of all, one of the reasons that I dropped is because when I jumped off of basically 1 milligram. And I say that because for only 2 days I took 0.5 milligrams. I was so sick and tired of waking up every single morning in withdrawal to the point that it would take 3 to 5 hours for that 1 milligram to take effect, to the point that I could get up and I could clean my house and I could cook meals and, do the laundry and, to just take care of everyday business. And that really sucked. First of all, we had just moved into this apartment, and it wasn't exactly conducive for me to be shut down for 5 hours every morning because, obviously there's things that have to be done or you're going to be living in chaos. It just got to the point where I was like, you know what, enough is enough. I just can't do this anymore. And so I jumped. I told everyone to leave me alone that day. And what happened was my mother and her sister ended up getting into this huge argument. And I was caught in the crossfire of their chaos. And I had made it very clear, especially to my mom, please do not contact me, because if you do, I will rage out on you. And that's what I did. I didn't mean to, but I warned them ahead of time. I ended up blocking my aunt. She called me like 100 times, and yeah, it was a bad day. So what I did was I took those pieces of Subxone and I tossed them in the toilet, because I knew if I didn't, that stress that I was feeling, that anger, that frustration was going to make me take them. And I don't know if I would have been able to go through the withdrawal the next time. So I just said, you know what, screw it, I'm done. So I threw them in the toilet, flushed them, that was that. And I left myself no options. And what I mean by that is I got rid of all of those people that I was doing drugs with, all of those people that I was trading pills back and forth with on the months that I was short on my supply. I had to. And it's not because I don't care about them, and it's not because, I don't want to see those people be successful, but at the end of the day, my life is my own life, and sobriety is my responsibility. And yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, day 1, real sick, very agitated, didn't sleep really great that night, and I had the runs really, really bad. I did take 4-Imodium that day, and I think I took 4-Imodium the following day as well, because the runs will last for roughly about 2 days. And during that time, you're going to feel agitated. You're going to be up and down, up and down. You're not going to be sure what to do with yourself. Thank God that I had the house absolutely immaculate and spotless, because had I not done that, the chaos that I would be facing right now would be immeasurable. Because you just don't have the energy. And, again, if you don't give yourself a good start, you're not going to have a good end. And you've got to give yourself a good start. So anyway, the first 2 days, yeah, runs. I didn't sleep a lot. I felt a lot of anxiety, but I knew what the anxiety was coming from. I understand the process in which withdrawals affects the human condition. Excuse me, I'm still getting over. I was sick about 2 weeks ago. Also, I had the flu, and I've heard a lot of people say this, that when they started dropping Subxone down, they ended up getting sick. I think it's because your immune system is totally fucked. Excuse my language, but it is what it is. So anyway, those first 2 days, not a lot of sleep. I would go to bed every night at about 8:30 maybe, sometimes even earlier than that. There were nights that I went to bed at 7. And I would still get up every morning at 2:30. Now, I know that seems like a good bit of sleep, and it is. And I think that I can owe that to the vitamin C, the mega dosing of the vitamin C, because without that, I don't think I would have gotten any sleep. I mean, I've watched videos where people said, I got an hour of sleep last night, and yeah, it's just, you can't function through that. And the other thing I did is I gave myself permission during the days to take little naps. If I felt tired, if I felt, even just for a minute, if I could just grab 30 minutes, you know what I'm saying, I would always feel a little bit better. Every day what you're looking for is milestones. You're looking for what it is that is going to give your life back in the end. And a lot of that is substance, emotional substance. And I think there are things that we need to feel. Going through this process for a long time, it was because I was in pain, but it wasn't just physical pain. It was also emotional pain. It numbs us out and it makes us not think about the important stuff. My brother had died and my dad had died, and the way my dad died was terrible. He died from pancreatic cancer, and I watched him deteriorate all within 14 days, and that was it. And then my brother was crushed by a tree during Hurricane Sandy, and all of that kind of ties in. I don't exactly have the greatest past, but it is what it is. But we have to figure out a way to forgive ourselves and to forgive those people that have hurt us, so we can have permission to get on with our lives. The medication kept me in such a dark place. The medication kept me in a place where I was constantly rinsing and repeating my thought process over and over again. I would focus on the most wrong things, and I did so much damage in that mindset, and I don't want that for myself. See, I know what it's like to be sober. I know what it's like to feel everything, and I knew that I was crumbling under the weight of that medication, and I wanted life. I didn't want death. And this drug, I don't care who you are, they don't even know what the long-term side effects of this drug is. This drug is designed to get people off of opiates, but it's designed to be used short term. And they trap you, and you've got a lot of doctors that aren't recovery specialists. But even if they were recovery specialists, or even if they aren't, it doesn't matter if they aren't. The fact of the matter is that they should know everything that there is to know about addiction if they are going to be prescribing medications that obviously affect the addicted person. And I don't think a lot of doctors care. To them, it's $100 a visit or $250 a visit. I mean, I couldn't believe the amount of money some of these doctors were charging for just the office visit in cash. But it's a lot of money. They're not invested in you guys getting off the drug. They're invested in keeping you on the drug. Subxone, the company that created it, is invested in keeping you guys on it. The more money you dump into that, the more you're lining their pockets, and that's the goal. This drug was never intended to be long-term. So anyway, day 3, I still had the runs a little bit. My stomach hurt really bad. And that just about drove me batshit crazy, because you constantly feel like you have hot rocks in your stomach. But again, that's part of the process. Your body is trying to leach out all of the Subxone. Guys, my teeth hurt, and my tongue hurt, and my jaw hurt. And I kept thinking, what is wrong with me? Do I have cancer? I mean, what the freak is going on? Didn't have cancer. It was the Subxone leaching out of my system. And, you get this metallic taste in your mouth. I am an avid teeth brusher, and I floss my teeth every day, but this drug has done so much damage to my teeth, and that is something that is going to have to be managed with a quickness. So anyway, going on to day 3, I sat around a lot. During this last 10 days, today's day 11, Subxone withdrawal, but during the last 10 days, there were times that I felt a lot of energy. There were times that I felt nervous energy, and I didn't know what to do with it, so you just kind of sit there paralyzed, not quite sure how to move or what to do. You're feeling all of this stuff, and you're just uncomfortable, but yet your mind's starting to free itself. It's crazy, the folds that you go through on the drug. And, one thing that I'm going to tell you is that if you really want off this, you're not going to look at you're not going to look at the lies that your brain's telling you. My brain kept telling me I had cancer. What's going on? What's wrong with you? You've got cancer. It had to be cancer. In my head, it had to be cancer. And then you start thinking all of these other crazy things. But, it's hard to understand all of the symptoms. And I think for a lot of people, those symptoms can range. Some may be worse for some, and some may be worse for others. The cold, I think, is hard for everybody, and the runs for the first few days is really hard. I am going to go back to the loperamide thing. Don't take it more than just those 2 days, because you're doing yourself a very big disservice. Loperamide, which is Imodium 80, is actually an opiate, and a lot of people don't realize this. I've heard of people taking 2 pills a day for whatever condition they may have had, whether it be IBS or whatever. And, then all of a sudden, a year later, they get that under control, and now, they're noticing that when they stop taking the loperamide, that they're going into withdrawals. Guys, it's bad news, and it may take away the withdrawals for a minute, but it's gonna exacerbate them later on that day or the next day. The goal is to get a lot of those opiate receptors in your body shut down. The vitamin C does, from what I understand, satisfy. I'm not exactly sure what the entire process is, but it does satisfy a lot of the needs that we have in our bodies as far as dealing with the withdrawals. I'm not quite sure why it works, but I'm assuming that it has something to do with the opiate receptors. It may quiet them down. It feeds them. I'm not sure how it works, but it helped me. It helped me a lot. The most that I ever took in a day, they were 1,000 milligram tablets, and the most that I ever think that I took in a day was probably 70 of them. Remember, guys, whatever your body's not using, you're going to piss out. That's why I said make sure that you drink a lot of water. If you're not drinking water, you could end up building up uric acid in your system. But even still, you're not going to be on the vitamin C forever. You're not. You're going to be on it just to make the withdrawals tolerable and more comfortable, along with all of the other supplements. One of the things that I've learned is my hypothalamus has been depressed, and that I believe is part of your central nervous system. When you're going through this, your back's going to ache and your legs are going to ache, and that's partly because your nerves are waking up to a new reality. And you're beginning to feel everything full force. I mean, there were days that I would cry, just cry and cry and cry and cry, because you feel so much regret over time lost. You feel so much regret over, broken relationships or damage that we've caused in our active addiction. This medication puts us in a place where we don't think or function quite right. And if you think people don't understand that about you, you're wrong. They may not say anything, but people know when there's something off about somebody. And I would always get that impression from people, and I never could understand on the drug what it was. It was the hyperactivity, it was the chaotic thinking, and that's what the drug did to me. Constantly, and it kept getting worse and worse and worse. The anxiety, the bouts of anxiety. I mean, I was smoking so much pot and I was drinking so much beer just to deal with the anxiety. I didn't want to take, benzodiazepines. That's something else you want to stay away from. Benzos are not going to help you. They're doing basically the same thing in just a different way. Benzodiazepines work on your GABA, your gamma-aminobutyric acid. You don't want to take anything else. The goal of the withdrawals is to get everything out of your system, which again is why I'm saying you have to have a plan. You have to do your homework. You have to understand the process that you're going through. You need to understand how the drugs got you to the place that you're in to begin with. Suboxone it can be a tool. Those of you that are taking it and have an extra supply, I know I had a ton of them. Thank God I would save the extra ones. I never sold them. I never sold a pill in my life. That doesn't make me better than anybody, but I've sure bought plenty of them. Anyway, day 4, the fog started to lift. Now, I'm not going to lie. I did have a beer on day 4. I think I actually had 2 beers. And I had to kind of terminate that because the beer made me very emotional to the point that I was almost sobbing. And again, the goal is to get everything out of your system. So I should not have had those beers. I'm not going to suggest anyone drink through it because it's just going to make it worse. You're dehydrating your already dehydrated body. You're making your liver go into overdrive. And, there were a lot of times that I just wanted to drink because it was an escape, even though for just a short period of time. It didn't help. In fact, it not only didn't help, it made it worse. You don't want to do that. You just want to let yourself get this all out of your system. Today's day 11. This was the goal for me. And I say it was the goal for me because I knew that when I woke up as the day went on, and today, well, let's see, now it is 7:59. It's almost 8 o'clock. I feel really good. I'm doing stuff. I'm walking around unobstructed. I don't feel tired and exhausted. I don't feel that heavy feeling. Now, my knees, just the experience that I've had for all the years that I've taken pain medication, my knees are always the last to start feeling better. I don't know why, but it's the last part of me that still feels cold this morning. So that tells me that it's mostly completely out of my system, and that's the goal. 11 days is what it takes. 11 days. If you can just make it through 11 days, if you can just use the supplements, if you can just use the loperamide like a normal person and do what you're supposed to do, and instead of trying to escape the pain, maybe it's important that we do feel that pain so we have a reason to not go back. But if you don't figure out what's causing you to stay in active addiction, you're not going to be able to get out. You're going to continue using those lame-ass excuses, that anger. I'm pissed off at my mom. I'm pissed off at my dad. I'm pissed off at the world. I'm not where I want to be. I mean, be pissed off. Maybe that's what you need to use, your anger, to get you out of the situation. But be angry at yourself, because we're the ones every single day that picked up the Subxone. We're the ones every single day that picked up the pill, no matter what the cost. And I'm done. I'm done, guys. I'm done. 15 years is long enough. I'm done. Anyway, you guys can do this. 11 days. That's all it takes. 11 days. Don't give up. Don't throw your self-worth away. 11 days is all it takes. 11 days. You can do it. Have a good day, guys.